Hey guys, this video is the first in a series of videos that I'm going to be filming on the channel that will teach you a little bit more about seed starting and give you some hints on ideas and tricks that you can use this spring to get your seedlings growing and doing really well. Because I love growing my own seedlings. It's just fun to be able to start from a tiny seed and have a tomato in September that I started in March, and I just love that. So we're going to do a series, and so make sure you subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell. We'll be doing 4 or 5 videos in this series that will help you be a better seed starter, okay? So today we are going to talk about these guys right here, okay? So we're going to talk about using heat pads and whether or not they're really necessary for starting your own seedlings, okay? So this is a heat pad, and it's a handy gadget to have. Let's talk a little bit about why we might want to have a heating pad. Seedlings, or seeds actually, like to germinate in temperatures between about 68 degrees and 86 degrees, okay? Now that's a Fahrenheit temperature, so the conversion, sorry I have to look here, the conversion would be between 20 and 30 degrees Celsius. So anywhere in that range is what seeds would prefer, at least most seeds would prefer for germination. But that's a soil temperature, not an air temperature, okay? So you may have air temperatures that are in the 40s, but if you can get that soil temperature up into the 60s, then your seeds will germinate and do really well. And so that's part of the reason why we want to have a heat mat, is because that will bring the soil temperature of our seedlings up even if the air temperature is lower. And that's actually a good thing, because seedlings usually like to have a little bit warmer soil temperature, but they prefer to have a cooler air temperature. And so that will help to make just overall good, strong seedlings, okay? Heat mats are made for putting us in that perfect spot for germination. And that's exactly what they are. So these guys are made usually out of a pretty flexible plastic. There are a few brands that actually make them out of rubber. And then inside, and you obviously can't see this, but inside they have heating elements that warm the mat up. You just use these heat mats, and they're actually meant to handle a little bit of moisture. So it's okay if you spill on them. It's okay if they're in a damp environment, but they're not meant to be submerged. Okay, so you're never going to want to have them actually underwater, and so you need to be using something like these trays, okay? And you're going to put the heat mat underneath the tray and plug it in, and then away you go. It will warm up the soil in your containers and get that germination process off and going. Now, do you really have to have one of these? No, you don't. For the first probably 4 years that I grew my own seedlings, I didn't have a heat mat, and I did okay. The advantage, again, of the heat mat is that it gets you off to a much quicker start. 40% sometimes faster is what they claim a heat mat will do in getting your seeds going and growing. And they also promote a nice, strong root system. But they are not 100% necessary. So you can grow your own seedlings without a heat mat. It just takes a little bit longer, okay? But if you feel like you don't want to mess around with them, or you can't afford them right now, that's fine. You can do seedlings without a seed starting mat. But it is a handy gadget to have. And like I say, it really does make your seedlings germinate a lot quicker. So I like to start in seedlings in kind of oddball times of the year. So we're in a zone 6 garden, and there are times when, like in January, where I'm actually starting seedlings. And if I were to put seeds in January out in my garage, which is where we are right now, they would take forever to start if I didn't have a heat mat. So it really does make a difference. And you know, I use it all through the spring. Now, one thing that you do need to be careful with is you don't want to use a heat mat if your outside temperatures are 70 degrees or above. So if the air temperatures where your seedlings are growing are above 70 degrees, I would stay away from a heat mat, because you're going to raise that temperature another 20 degrees possibly, and then you're too hot. That soil temperature of, soil temperatures in the 80s and the 90s is really, really too hot. And so you don't use them in the fall, you don't use them in the summer if you're starting seedlings at that time of the year, because you'll burn your crops. And trust me, I learned this from experience, okay? So you just don't do it in the summertime. It's meant for spring and cooler temperatures. When your air temperatures are lower, in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and even 60s, that's when you use your heat mats. When the temperatures are warmer, don't use a heat mat, because you'll burn your crops, okay? So watch out for that. All right, so let's talk about these guys. They are set up to be used with this type of tray. So these kind of commercially available seed starting trays. Now that doesn't mean you have to use these kind of trays, but they're sized so that they fit nicely underneath those. And they come, I've seen them in 3 different sizes. So this is a single tray size. I've seen double trays that are long like this. I've also seen double trays that are this way, so they're wider, so that you would set 2 this way versus 2 the long way. They also have 4 tray sizes, which would, they're longer and wider, and would allow you to put 4 trays on the mat. I think there are some specialty mats that are even bigger than that, but they get pretty pricey and probably aren't very practical for most of us that are growing indoors. I just have one, and I usually am only starting about 1 tray at a time. So once I get them germinated, I'll move this to another tray, and that works out pretty good. But they are fairly easy to find in bigger sizes than this as well. Okay, so cost-wise, this guy should cost you, I've seen them as cheap as like $12. So somewhere between $12 to $15 for a single-sized mat. Then for the double size, you're going to be looking at about $20. The four times size are usually about $45 is what I've seen online. Now they also have fancier ones that have thermostats that actually will measure what the temperature of the soil is, and a single one of those is about $25. I haven't ever felt like I needed something like that. If you really want to get technical, you could probably grab one of those as well. And like I say, they're fairly reasonable. For this size, they're $25, and they have a thermostat that attaches and some extra wires that will measure your temperature. So maybe cool. I have never used them, so I don't know. But that's kind of your prices, okay? So I would recommend, if you're going to get serious about growing your own seedlings, that you buy a heat mat. I have really liked having it. It's been 10, probably closer to 15 years now that I've been using these. They last a long, long time. This is the one I originally bought, still in good shape, still working well. It's a little dirty, but besides that, it's fine. So I would really recommend that you get one of these. But again, you don't have to have one. You can do your own seedlings without one. Just makes a big difference and makes things go a lot faster. Okay? All right, so that is all I have for you for this week, but I did want to give you a couple of reminders. We have a few seed starting courses that are available for you. If you want to just kind of get a little hint and kind of a primer as to what to do for seed starting, I have a free seed starting course. It's about a half-hour long, and there's a link down below for that. Or if you want the full-blown treatment, we do have about 3-hour-long seed starting course. It's called Seed Starting Simplified, and that is available several times during the springtime. We'll open that up to new students, and we will be doing that again this year as well. And so there's a link down below to that course as well, so that you can click on either of those. If the Seed Starting Simplified, the bigger course, happens to not be open, there'll be a way for you to sign up for an email list so that you can get on that list, and I'll let you know the next time it's open. Okay? All right, so that's all I have. Make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click that notification bell so that you know when I release more videos, because there are more videos in this seed starting series coming. So make sure you do that. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, please leave those down in the comments below. Okay, everybody have a great week. Happy gardening. See you in the next video.